Ahoy hoy, and welcome to the 25 Cent Play podcast for Wednesday, January 11th. Exciting news, we've been drinking. We had our...
Much more than the last two episodes.
Yeah, we had our brewery dinner before this. See, but it's okay, because last week we didn't have anything to drink.
No, you guys ate dinner. I wisely ate a salad and drank some beer.
Yeah, it's your master plan.
I have a cat.
Cat's on the internet.
Cat is on the internet.
Does your cat have his own Twitch TV site?
Yeah, we're simulcasting. Oh, there he is right there. He just showed up on Twitch.
Simulcatting. Metal Snail.
Did you do the intros, or are you just going to keep talking?
Oh, yeah, so I'm your host, Matt, and as always I'm joined by Charles. Charles, how you doing?
Matt is way
doing
too
great.
drunk.
I'm doing really good. I'm going to
Slam
I'm going
dunk
to save
shit.
the NBA and the post office and everybody tonight. I got
And Hostess.
Yep.
Oh, and
Hostess all
yeah.
being saved as long as
Kodak.
I don't finish this beer.
No, Kodak is coming back. They've got a plan.
They're going to start making phones.
Of course, I don't even know how much their stock has dropped since the first of the year. Like, it's gone through the floor. Poor Kodak.
You know what the problem was? That I think we'll introduce Steve and then we'll talk about Kodak.
And Steve. Steve, how you doing? Your cat looks well.
You know what the problem is?
My cat
That
is
Kodak was way out ahead, and then Polaroid was like, "Yo, we're Polaroid."
Polaroid's not even a company anymore. Like, they've done the right thing. They just sold off their name.
Their brand, yeah. Well, who would have thought that?
Which really stinks because I have so many instant cameras. Like, I have got like 4 or 5 land cameras, like 6 on 700s, and you can't buy film
Steve,
for
you
it
wanna
anymore.
but you need to get into like developing your own film and making your own film.
No,
Well,
that
when I
day
have-
is over, dog.
When I have the house with the second bathroom, which is in the middle of the house, so it'll be perfect
Meth
for
lab.
developing film.
Okay, you're stupid. There is a perfectly good slop sink in your garage, and you should not destroy your bathroom making it a photo lab.
Bathrooms are better because they're usually lightless.
That's
His
why
garage is lightless.
No, there's a giant door that goes to the outside.
Also,
that
you
leaks
want
tons of light.
of access to water.
Yeah,
Bathrooms are good.
There is
for
a slop
black
sink,
rooms.
and the bathroom is good because the pipes are metal pipes, not plastic pipes, so it'll be fine.
Fine, Charlie, when you have to wash your hands in Fixer because Steve has turned his bathroom.
Dude, I'm going in there and getting high.
Nobody's getting high on Fixer in my bathroom. You
All
guys
right,
could
except
pee,
you.
You guys could pee in the slop sink.
Well, we were gonna.
Good.
We were
I like
gonna
this.
go in. Well, I was just gonna go in there and smoke the meth that you were making.
All right, so Steve, this is what I wanted to ask you. There's a video game, Skyrim. We've been playing the shit out of it.
So we're going there, huh?
We're just gonna jump right into it, huh?
Yeah. Just.
Oh,
I don't even know the meme. What's it?
I have a lot of pictures of
Fusmazeus?
people with arrows
Wait, what's
in their
Fusmazeus?
knees.
What's the you say when you cast your dragon thing?
Yeah, you say all kinds of. Well, that's what I was going to talk about. the shouts.
There's a bunch of different things, but it's Fusmazeus.
So I was
Medusa.
I was trying to explain. I was showing Charlie some of the stuff, and I was trying to explain shouts to him, and not that this is incorrect, but Charlie's like, "Oh, shouts are the magic that everybody has."
Well, you tell the story. I mean, like my outsider impression, if I think about it, like purely from a design mechanic, and I'll throw that out first, and then you tell me I'm wrong because you probably should. Is that I see the shouts as being like this thing that is awarded to you as you progress through the game that sort of gives you see, I don't even know really what they are because in my mind it's a weapon that doesn't have any weight, and that is huge.
well, but it's not a weapon because its utility is so limited. So the shout is
It's only to differentiate you from a regular NPC. Because the only people that have shouts, as far as I can tell, is the skeletal dudes in the old ruins that are like the Nord ruins, who are supposed to be like descendants, like you're a descendant of them or some shit anyway.
Sure, why not?
Of the dragonkin.
Yeah,
Dragonborn.
Yeah.
You was what born of what dragons, who what was, or something.
Yeah, sure. Even though, like I said, in the one side quest for the mages, I accomplished more than I would ever expect to in any video game. It's pretty sad when on a side quest you finish with like lands and titles and holdings like far surpassing what I will in real life.
Dude,
it was just incidental.
I am Thane of most of the villages.
Oh, I forgot I was Thane of that place.
Like,
but is that kind of like you're the hero in Fallout?
Yeah.
Like people like you.
Yeah. Every time I walk into town, everybody's like, "Hey, buddy, what's up? It's nice to have you around."
You look sick.
I used to be a
Nobody
hero.
tells me I look sick because I have a giant metal mask on.
You used to be an adventurer, Tara.
And also, if someone says that, I immediately warp back to Whiterun and then go into the Hall of the Dead. You go into the Hall of the Dead, and on the right, there's a statue that you can pray to, and it'll remove all of your diseases.
Yes,
By the way,
that
did you
is how I
become
got
a
rid of
were?
my
Did you
disease.
become a werewolf yet?
No.
What
are the up and down sides to being?
I got the invite for that, but I haven't actually I haven't finished that quest. Like, it started, but it's like I don't know if I want to do it.
You can jungle like a motherfucker.
You can actually, because you're like
Okay.
with the claws.
So back to the
We're all
okay.
over the place.
So
tonight.
So
Charlie,
let me refocus this.
So the way
let's
magic-
talk about the shouts because I want to talk about those.
Yes, and so the way
How
that,
important are the shouts? Would you say to that game?
not at all, or a little bit, or completely depending on your play style.
I would say like probably normal player is going to use them from time to time. If you're thinking about it's just because the cooldowns are so long that you do get an amulet that will allow you to shorten the cooldowns. And I suppose if you were to disenchant the amulet and then apply it to all of your stuff, you could probably get a pretty quick cooldown.
But
I mean,
would
it's
any of them be
still-
awesome if you could spam them?
Well, yeah, I mean, because like
yes,
you can
'cause-
breathe fire, you can breathe frost, you can turn invisible, you can move really fast. You can shoot dudes across the valley, basically, because you do a shout and you scream them away from you. If you're strong enough, you can disarm people,
Nice.
which is that's kind
Well,
of cool.
there's a one. I saw
But
there
most
was
of the
a
guys you wanted
shield
to-
bash that does that as well.
Most of the guys you want to disarm, you're not strong enough to disarm.
Yeah, right. So, okay. So the very first one that you get in the store. So in order to get
Every RPG ever has the sleep spell. Sleep spell only works on the most bullshit. bad
Yeah,
guys.
yes, the
you
weakest
can-
end. Yeah,
you
which
can
is
put
one
the
of,
green slime to sleep, and that's about it.
which is one of the things I always hate about like status effects and stuff in RPGs is that like I don't use and my equivalent to a status effect spell in a JRPG for Skyrim is all the fucking potions you get. Like, you get potions and potions and potions, and I don't know whose fucking play style is dependent on making and using potions.
People who are really into The Witcher.
I make potions all the time just to lighten up my load, and then I realize I'll be somewhere and I'll end up with a full inventory, so I can't carry anything more, and I'll have all of these potions. It's like, oh, I keep forgetting to poison my blade.
Yep.
And poison my arrows, and it's just like, oh, that's right, I have a potion that will make me invisible for 6 minutes.
Yep.
And it's just like,
Well,
Oh,
they're
yeah,
they're like the what was it? Like the drugs in Fallout, which in the late game of Fallout, when I had a ton of them, I used them all the time. But
you have them, you end
So
up with a
50%.
ton of them
and
right
so
away.
the way that the potions work in Skyrim is that 50% of them are effects to you, and the other 50% are effects you put on your weapon, and the next hit you deal will utilize that potion.
right, and Steve might recognize this because he played The Witcher, but that's a great example of where the potion mechanic is really good. I mean, it is built into the character.
Oh, yeah, it's-
one of the things about
crazy.
the being The Witcher is that you use potions, and when you fight monsters and bosses and stuff, you really need to say it's a strategy element. And it's I have to use this potion on myself and on my blade so that I'm effective against this boss. Because, in a boss fight, you're only going to fight this thing for a little time, so that's enough time for the potion to work. But you need to get all the ingredients to craft it and get into that position. And I think it enhances the game in that case, but in this, it doesn't sound as important in this game.
Well, so here's an example.
Or maybe you guys are on a different path.
Well, see, here's an example. So, when you look, as Steve says, you fast travel and go to the statue and pray, and it gets rid of your status effects. That is the easiest and cheapest way to deal with that problem. if you don't know the place to go and the place to go in the
Yeah,
town you
I
fast
have a
travel
bunch
to.
to get rid of disease potions.
Potions, yes. And so I had to go look at the wiki to find out how you make those because they're so expensive. You never find the cure potion. And they're so expensive from vendors that you have to make them or just be sick and not care about it. Like I had like joint rot and it made my melee attack go down by 25%,
Yeah.
which is a shame because my character's based around melee. So,
Yeah.
um,
I had the first stage of vampirism the other day. The
What?
sanguine.
You had the first stage of
Something.
vampirism.
Well, it's like if from what I don't know this for sure because you can track the disease while fighting vampires and it's like sanguine something.
Yep.
But I think what happens is if you die after you've contracted it, I think you come back as a vampire. But I went and healed myself because I didn't want to find out.
And then you're a vampire for the rest of the game.
Yeah, you could do that in Oblivion too. You could become a vampire.
You could also become a vampire in Fallout.
Oh, I got
that's
the
right. Yeah.
I got the first quest for to join the Dark Brotherhood. Like, I'm really.
What did you have to do that, or is that a spoiler?
No, there's you end up in a town where everyone's really upset because somebody in the town is trying to contact them. So what happens is you go to that person and he thinks you're from the Dark Brotherhood, and apparently what seems to happen is you get the quest to fulfill the murder that he wants you to do. And so what I believe happens is you fulfill his request and then you get invited into the Dark Brotherhood. I haven't done it yet, so I don't know for sure, but that's what I think happens.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Which is really weird because like the way I've been playing my character has been a lot more lawful than when I was playing Oblivion. I mean, when I played Oblivion, I was like I just slaughtered
yeah, when you were talking about this at dinner, I was worried that something's wrong with you. That you're not just killing everyone.
Basically what is best in life, that's how I played the game. Everyone was slaughtered. Like there were women that were just cut down, and it was just it's awful. It was like bloodshed.
But you
just
changed.
awful.
You've
Apparently I've changed a little bit. So people have lived. So
there are survivors.
there are.
So
Well, when I played Oblivion, at one point, like I was bored because I was just kind of playing, and it was just like going place to place, and I was trying to get the Dark Brotherhood stuff, like to get that quest line started. So I walked into a town and just slaughtered a town full of people because I was like, well, what's the easiest way to get these guys to like start the quest line? And the only way they'll start it is if you start murdering people in town. So I just took it to the extreme, I think.
nice.
If you're gonna do something,
Yeah, do it all the way, man. No half measures, Walt. So, okay. So the way you get spells, Charlie, is you pick up books.
Oh yeah.
And you go into the book section of your inventory, and you press a button, and you know the spell. So you can certainly get more spells or spells earlier, should you want to exchange money for them. But if you don't,
dude, I'm
want to
always
exchange money
walking
for them,
around with like 10,000 gold anyway.
I don't know. I always have money problems. So,
You ain't playing right then.
Well, that's good. You guys are playing different games.
Well, because also remember that no matter, even though just irregardless of the time that we've each spent in the game, I'm playing a really elaborate combat puzzle game in which each dungeon takes me about 4 hours.
I can finish a dungeon in like 20 minutes.
Steve, let me tell you something.
Maybe a half hour.
I am not underleveled to do anything in that game because given 30 iterations, I will come up with some way to beat a situation that I am not meant to be in. Using a combination of cheese, like letting the game break itself, and
And I said this last week. I've actually been very impressed, not only with the change in my playstyle, not callously slaughtering everyone, but I haven't cheesed the game. I have a little bit, because it is a video game, and I'll get into a situation where it's like, you know what, I don't want to reload and do something else. I just want to finish this right now, so I'll sit in a corner with my bow.
Yep.
Shoot somebody. Like,
usually that angle
10
in video
minutes.
games is me going like something happens that's like huge, like some NPC dies that like could give you something, and usually my response is, well, in my story, that's what happened.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, so the one thing I'll give I'll give Skyrim credit for is that there's a lot of way to solve problems. Like the you being sick thing. You can solve that problem by fast traveling and worshiping the shrine.
Mm-hmm.
You can solve it by making potions. You could solve it by buying potions. You could solve it by not caring.
Yeah.
And just dealing with like whatever the the stuff the like various like status effects are. And that's the same way with like spells and scrolls and enchanted weapons. Like the game is full of scrolls. Scrolls are completely fucking useless because
You're taking a picture of my cat. Sorry.
Because there's nothing a scroll can do that you don't just. I mean, there's like some stuff like mayhem and other like weird nonsense situational things, but I don't.
Yeah, I was using the one of the flame scrolls for a while too. Before I had the spell book to summon the flame Antioch. Was it?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I don't know if it's called an Antioch or not, but sure, why not?
I think it is. I don't remember, but I had a whole bunch of those scrolls somehow before I knew that spell.
So so shouts. So when you receive a shout, you find a like a semicircle of ancient dragon carvings, and you absorb the knowledge of the shout. Okay. However, then it's in your shout menu.
I'm sure you've seen that picture on Reddit where it has a picture of the Dragonborn, and then it says like, scumbag Dragonborn, wall full of dragon words, learns one phrase.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but then what happens is that you learn the word, but you can't unlock the word unless you have a dragon soul. So right now, like as in fact, when I was showing you my game, I have 2 dragon souls stored up and 2 words that I haven't unlocked yet. One of them is a word that makes animals run away from you, which seems like the stupidest thing ever.
Wow, I haven't unlocked that one.
Yeah, so
Monsanto.
But I have the one. So I have the one that like lets you ice people though, which is like clearly one of the best ones.
Ice as in turn them into ice, or just ice?
Ice,
Italian.
No, they
ice.
become ice cubes. And as I was explaining to Charlie,
he just yells "Grut," and they get iced.
So
forget about it.
So the great part about the ice shout is that so you can hit multiple people with it because it moves like in a very straight line in front of you. So if people are like bunched up in front of you, you can hit everybody with it. Do you have the ice one?
I think I have the one that you're talking about. I have like an ice breath and the only one I really only use 2 shouts. Or 3 shouts. I use disarm once in a while, and it almost always fails because they're almost always too powerful.
Right.
I use the one that you were talking about, the one that you first unlocked, the Funaga or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Which is basically
just knocks people down.
It just knocks them down. It just throws them across the thing.
Physics push.
Yeah, it's basically become ragdoll. I think that's actually how it's translated. And then I will use fire once in a while if I remember to switch to it when I'm fighting a an ice dragon. I'll switch to fire.
And you're playing with the keyboard mouse, right? And so still, there's no like quick key for every shout you own. It's still going in and choosing how the shout.
If I have them favorited, I can hit Q and then just switch.
Yes, but other than the favorite menu, there's no. So the way the favorite menu works, Charlie, is you pause combat and it lets you switch weapons and shouts and stuff. And so basically, if you're a psycho like me,
it breaks the shit out of the flow of the combat.
Yeah, if you're a psycho like me, every spell you know and every shout you have and every weapon in your inventory is all on your favorites list. So you bring up your favorites list and it's just a quick list of
everything you already
stuff.
had.
And so like,
so why couldn't you figure out Dragon Age?
There's because you're controlling multiple characters.
Just think of him as one big character that's got 4.
So and also for the record, I don't think this is fun. Like that's why
I'm just saying.
No, I don't
I don't, and that's you're going to make the point that like combat is, this is kind of like VATS too. I mean, like in my mind, like that you have this universal pause where you get to like say like, okay, in this fight, I am going to do exactly what I want.
No.
It's
It's
not even
like
like
VATS
VATS at
because
all.
you are out of combat. VATS lets you actually line up shots and then hit a button and you do the
Yeah,
attack.
it's
You're
straight.
not lining up shots. You're saying I want to do this much
Yes.
damage.
Well,
but
it lets you.
You want to
It lets
do
you
magic
faux
spell
line up shots.
headshot.
Yeah.
You know,
no, that's not what this is at all, Charlie.
But I mean,
Nobody's
that
saying
you-
that's what VATS
Yes,
is.
that's
yeah,
what VATS
VATS is a magic spell. It's not like there's no skill to it. So like, let's replace that with I want to do a bunch of fire damage, or I want to do some ice damage,
But
or
that's
I want to
no-
get healed.
No, that's not what you're doing in the menu, though. Because then once you go in the menu and you select it and you leave the menu and then you execute the action.
Okay, so you're not picking.
You're not
it from
picking
them.
a spell
Okay.
to be cast. It's
No,
not
you're-
like Dragon
you're-
Age.
You're
You-
queuing it up.
you can
Right.
queue.
It's the
Okay.
equivalent of going into your Pit Boy and switching weapons. It's just a fast way. Into
and
your
that's
Pit
and
Boy.
that's why I said I only use like 3 any given time, because half the time I forget, because when
Yeah.
I'm in combat,
So
I'm hitting the button and my sword is going like this, and it's like, well, why
Yeah.
am I going to stop that?
Yeah.
and so I don't know about for the PC. I imagine you assigned favorite weapons like 1 through 9, but for on the 360 for the gamepad, you would select your favorite weapons in Fallout, and they would be on the 8-way. And so like left, right, up, down, and the diagonal corners would
North,
let
south,
you have
east, west, southwest, east, west. Yes.
Yeah, so that's what 8. So you would have 8 like weapons. And like Fallout didn't have double-handedness, right? So like you just had so
There was no quick anything on the PC for Fallout. I mean, like you said that the
yeah you would
keypad
have
had like you could map stuff to it, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
different loadouts or something.
yeah. So you would map your 8 favorite weapons to the D-pad, and then you would switch to them. And this game does not have that. And so playing with the gamepad, when you press up on the D-pad, up or down will bring up your favorites menu, and then up or down will navigate the favorites menu. What I found out just from trial and error is that you can select a 1 and a 2, which is left and right, to be your left and right favorites. And so things I can do, and because this game is all about two hands, unless you have a bow, if you have a bow and the perk, the other button is zoom. And if you have a two-handed
I
sword,
finally unlocked that. And
Yeah.
then I unlocked the slow down time thing.
Iron sights.
Basically, yeah.
yeah. And so if you have a two-handed sword, it wouldn't be an issue. But the game is all about like a sword and a shield, or a spell and a spell, or a spell and a sword, or 2 weapons, or some combination thereof. And so what left and right on the D-pad when you have it set up will allow you to do is like I have my weapon in my right hand, and if I press left, I have left assigned to my fire spell and right assigned to my heal spell. And so I can go from heal to fire and back and forth, but I have to remember, because if you double hit one way, it will put your sword away and bring the other hand up as the same thing to give you double fire or double heal. Like, it's really janky. The fast weapons, the limited fast weapon switching it has is extraordinarily janky. So you're always pausing and going into this favorites menu. And in that favorites menu, you can select left hand, right hand, and power. And power is either going to be your racial power, which again for me is like absorb 50% of magic damage for a minute, or your shouts. Right? And so I don't know about on the keyboard, but then that means left trigger, right bumper is all your stuff. And so if you want to switch shouts, you have to go into that same menu and switch shouts just like you're switching other stuff, except it doesn't have that sort of favorite, like the limited quick switching doesn't even apply there, so you can't like quick switch between 2 shouts, at least not that I know of. And the cooldown is a global cooldown, so if you use a shout and then go try to use another shout, you won't be able to.
Yep.
So if I use the shout where the cooldown is 60 seconds, which is the ice one, which is the best one I have, like you're not switching to some other thing to do it. Like you're just cooling down for 60 seconds. So Steve, I find the shouts to be like really situational, and at best I remember they exist. Like it's really tough to remember to hit the button to use it.
I
Like,
basically just use the unrelenting force. Basically the first one you unlock.
Yeah.
I have that. I'm sure you already do now, but it's full power. You know.
I only have stage 2.
Well, you should get the last one. And
I'm in the mission where they teach you about
that
there is stages.
Yeah. So have they given you super speed yet?
Yes. Well,
Okay.
that's the stage 2 speed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, it's kind of interesting the way that they've kind of brought the shouts into the story. Like it does like feel good, and it kind of as you're going through and you're seeing like the Nord ruins and stuff like that. Typically, down all the way down in the deepest depths, there happens to be a wall with a dragon phrase on it. Well, I should say there's a wall with a ton of them, but of course, as we discovered before, scumbag dragonborn only can learn one. So
I'm thinking though that like these are basically the carrot for you to hunt down the dragons though.
The dragons just appear randomly. They're randomly generated. They will just kind of.
Well, for you to engage and want to kill one.
Yeah,
because like in most cases you would be
soul,
like aside like you get like XP from a dragon kill.
Well, you get XP, soul, bones, scales, which you can make an armor later.
Bones and scales are for crafting.
Yeah, I don't even. Yep. Yeah, and I don't. And in a lot of ways, that can ultimately be more important about why you want to fight the dragons. But yeah,
I told you I'm on the way to.
I'm just trying to
armor.
think of like what is the carrot for these? Like if they're not.
Well, you need
to
kill
really
dragons
that useful
to get their
in
soul.
Yes, to not use them, you need to kill a dragon to get its soul to unlock them, so you cannot use them.
Okay.
You don't have the option to use them if you don't unlock them, and then because they're not good, you don't use them because of your strategy of playing the game.
Yeah.
Right.
And it
But that could be like a girl to the dance thing. Like
dragons are so I cannot tell you how spot on the Penny Arcade comic were about like kill a dragon, feel like a hero, like kill 30 dragons, like giant kills you in one hit. Dragons are weak as shit. Like I fought a blood dragon last night that I probably had to load like 10 or 15 times. Like because I got halfway through the fight and just couldn't take him out because he kept grabbing me, and no matter how much health I have, he would thrash me around in his mouth and throw me off a cliff.
We actually got a
good.
question about the sprint one. And yes, I have used the sprint one after I unlocked it. There is I don't remember the name of the ruins, but there's ruins where.
Well, it's unlimited data plan, right?
Yes, it's the unlimited data plan on the Sprint network because we don't like Verizon. But yeah, no, there's a thing where you need to go through a door, and the only way to do it is you have to sprint past 3 points within a certain time frame, or the door closes.
Oh, I love that mechanic.
So basically, you just hold down Z, and it goes baroof,
Yep.
foosh, whatever, fushugi yugi. I don't know what he says, but he says it and he runs.
Nice.
So
Flatbush Avenue.
it may have been Flatbush Avenue.
Well, that's interesting
All right.
that at least there's a point where you would use it. Like,
Yeah, no,
to
I
do
think
something.
there's probably at least, if I was a designer on the game, there would be at least one instance for each one of the shouts. And they have to be in there somewhere.
But do you think
Because-
it's like a Metroid kind of thing? Like, thou shalt not pass unless has shout?
It doesn't seem to be that bad because you could use. I've come up on some spots where there's doors that you either need to use your flame spell on or use your ice spell on, and in theory you could just use your flame or ice shout on it. So it wouldn't be kind of Metroid no.
Well, again, that
but
kind
there is no spell for super speed as far as I can tell.
So this is another thing I've kind of been thinking about this because I want to know why like because this in my mind like the shouts are an example of a big difference between this game and Oblivion. You know, like there was nothing.
Apparently Verizon's very popular on the internet.
The difference between like Oblivion and this is that they have added these shouts. So like, what's the matter for you? Why are these there? You know,
I would
so,
say there's a lot of more differences between Oblivion and this game.
frankly, like really, from what I understand,
Well, when it comes down to the core game,
when it comes down to the core mechanic, I mean, there's a lot of
pretty.
pretty that's been added, but like, the fucking Dark Brotherhood, You know, a
Well,
lot
Steve,
of this stuff
Steve,
is
as a man who beat Oblivion, were there enchanted weapons powered by soul crystals that you stole people's souls to fill?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh yeah, I guess you're right then.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
So no,
it's
I
pretty
mean,
much the
not
same.
that this is bad. I mean, that's good. Like that's a
My
good
only-
game,
my-
and
the
I
only
want to
thing
play
I do-
more of it.
The only thing I don't remember was actually doing enchantments on weapons in Oblivion. It was always I was finding enchanted weapons. I don't recall ever enchanting anything.
I believe you had to go to an enchanter, so you had to hook up with someone that would do the enchanting
that who would
for
do
you.
the do for
Yeah,
you?
so you
Okay,
you would pay
so,
for it.
So I probably skipped through that.
Yeah, I don't like. I think that's how they did that because I remember there were enchanted weapons, but it wasn't something you did. But the thing about the shouts, like if like you know what he's saying about it being like this, like kind of a key in a certain situation. I'm wondering if it is a way to get people past a situation where if they've built an incorrect build, that they can still get past it because regardless of their build, if they continue to hunt down the dragons and get the shouts, these shouts will, ease you through.
See,
And these are just speculations.
I see what you're saying, but I guess my immediate response to that is that if you're so bad at the game that you have broken your character to a point of like inoperability, then to know to go and to get the dragon, to kill the dragon, to be able to kill the dragon, like is probably not in the cards for you.
Well, no, but
you have to kill one dragon and make the story move on. You get its soul, you open the first shout, like.
But let's say you didn't go and you're still like not if you were building yourself, let's say you're building yourself into a corner, are the shouts like a free pass for certain things?
No. Steve's I really think Steve's example about running past the points is more of an anomaly than anything else. Because I have not needed them for anything.
Also, too, I mean, like it could have intentionally started out as as a way to gatekeep people. Like, okay, you won't be able to do this unless you've probably killed a couple of dragons, so that your XP level's up to a certain level. Like
the other thing is, I don't think about getting XP. Yeah,
I was gonna say that's another thing that just popped up on the Twitch chat. Besides, apparently we're freezing. The video is freezing, so stop popping and locking.
Okay.
The question was, is there any way to completely break a character? And they actually have done very well, because when I first played Oblivion, like I completely had to restart because I don't know how I did it, but I got into a situation where it was just like I didn't feel that I could progress any further forward. Which, I mean, if I had really busted my ass, I could have. But the way that the game works this time around, and I think this comes from Fallout being so good and them learning so much on it, that everything levels so smoothly, kind of in between where you're leveling and where all of the NPCs are leveling, that it just kind of goes. And there's, as far as I found, there's no way to break it yet. I'm only like 50, 60 hours in, so I don't know. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I would say if you wanted to be just pure magic, and as a result, like literally didn't carry any weapons on you, like you just were in a tunnel where you're like, I got these spells and I'm going to burninate everybody.
You could definitely do it. It would be hard.
Yes, it would be really hard and involve even more saving and loading.
I don't even think that like the pure magic or pure melee, combat would be usually are the breakers. Usually what I think is always the breakers are things like, I want to be a pure stealth dude, or I want to be like well, as we know, all fists works if you build it correctly. So is it like there are situations where you could build correctly if you just like min-max a specific path?
Well, I think the question is, I think it goes more to, if you're not going to go look at a fact beforehand, can you, bumbling around trying stuff out, get yourself in a no-win scenario? Because rather than like coming up with a master plan, rather than coming up with a master plan about like how you're going to like do like the guy.
Yeah.
If you're just trying to figure the game out,
your average user is not going to min-max.
Yeah,
your average user is going to actually create a very mediocre gray character because they're ordering off of the menu. They go, that sounds good. That sounds good. And then by the end of the game, they're just mediocre.
At the beginning of the game, you're given, you know, a bunch of one-handed weapons, a shield, a spell, and a two-handed weapon and a bow. And so basically because of how the leveling is, and it's funny because you talk about the XP for killing a dragon, like I've never noticed getting any XP for killing somebody. I noticed getting XP.
That's because it's very small.
For the specific
tasks and stuff.
Well, no, it's XP for one-handedness or destruction magic or heavy armor, which you get XP for getting hit.
Yeah, but
as you get
XP
in a thing, like as you get XP in one-handed for your one-handed level, that XP adds to your level XP.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So it's not killing somebody, it's that you hit them a bunch of times with a sword or burn them with your destruction spell. And it is those areas that get XP, and that XP contributes to your overall level XP. And so because of the fact that the more you use something, the better it gets. Like I find it hard. Like I've heard a lot of people on the internet say not to play the way I'm playing the game, and the way I'm playing the game is fine, which is a weapon in one hand and a spell in the other. Like that's how I played the whole game. And I found, guess what? I found out one of the first things you get is, does burning damage to target. Target takes extra damage if they're on fire. And it's like, okay, well, that means I'm going to set people on fire and then stab them. And what do you know? That works miraculously well.
You hit them with the freeze, and then you hit them with the wrench, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. That's the double-handed sword that I enchanted. That does the regular sword damage, does lightning damage. Half of the lightning damage is applied as magic damage as well, so it just decimates people.
Yeah. And it's
that's why I get to just walk around and go.
Okay. So because you have to fill the crystals, and I realize that
Dude, I have so many of those fucking crystals.
Yeah. There can ultimately be almost like a the cocaine commercial of work harder so I can
fill more crystals,
buy more coke.
Yeah.
So Steve, what I did is I was like, well, so I have.
By the way, it says basically I was building a battle mage once, and then I took an arrow to the knee. And Charlie, I know you haven't played the game, but I'm sure you're on the internet enough to know about the arrow to the knee joke. Every time and I'll share this with the internet. I have a lot of screenshots with people with arrows in their knees, just coincidentally, not aiming at them, but like through the heat of combat. Sometimes things happen.
Yeah, sometimes. So, there's you get a bow that lets you, like, if you shoot people and then they die within 7 seconds, you get their soul. But you also have a spell.
Hey, wait, my bow. Oh wait, I enchanted it myself. That's
but you you have a spell called Soul Steal, and it's pretty mana intensive. But you hit somebody with it, and then when they die, you get their soul. There's no like time expiration.
I take your soul.
So I was using the bow, but I hardly ever use bows, and the idea that I'm going to hit somebody with the arrow and
you talking like Donatello bow or like Bo Bridges?
No, not a bow staff.
Okay, just checking.
Like a bow and arrow,
like Bo Derek.
Exactly.
So
if I was going to get a bow, I guess it'd be Bo Derek.
Like Broken Arrow, starring John Travolta and Christian Slater. So it wasn't really using it, so I followed Steve's advice and I de-enchant everything. Mm-hmm. And so Steve, I'm looking at my inventory and I'm like, I kind of got as many weapons as I can carry. And I was like, you know what? I got to have this pickaxe for mining, but might as well enchant it. So I enchanted it with the Soul Steal, so now I dual wield pickaxe and a badass
great
sword.
idea. I didn't think of that.
And so then when I want to like capture somebody's soul, I figure I'll just try to like mash them with the melee for the pickaxe, because even though the time is like 5 seconds, if you kill somebody with the weapon that's enchanted, then you're not.
Yeah, then it happens.
Yeah, then that solves that problem.
Yeah.
But then it's like, well, then I have to worry about the charges on my enchanted pickaxe.
Enchanted pickaxe. That's pretty funny.
Yeah, I was like, if I have to have this stupid thing anyway. But
Yeah, I carry around. I finally stopped carrying around my my actual wood axe because I found every time that there's something to chop down, there's always an axe nearby.
Yeah, I also haven't ever chopped anything down.
Have you found any of the basically the sawmills?
No.
Have you walked along the rivers?
Yeah, I usually find hunters' cottages.
Wait, hunters' cottages?
Yeah. I've been hunting.
I found a witch's cabin.
I've been hunting in these parts for years.
Oh, those guys are all over the place on the road.
So I got 2 more questions for you. So since we've come to a consensus that we have no consensus on shouts.
No, I think Steve and I agree that they're like of limited utility at best.
Yeah, what happens is I had a little bit of the game spoiled for me by accident by Giant Bomb because I watched one of their year-end videos and they did a lengthy thing on Skyrim. And Brad was playing and he was like, "Hey, oh by the way, I don't care if you've played, and here's a spoiler." And it was just like, "Oh, but you get a shout that becomes very important."
Okay. So all right, that again, it seems like
yes,
it's
and,
a gatekeeper.
and once again, the story missions are related to the shouts.
Okay.
Yes.
So their utility is quintessential to the game because to move forward in the story is to learn about and use shouts. But to do the stuff that isn't related to the story, side quests do not require shouts. Only main quests require shouts.
Yes.
Okay.
At this point, 30 hours into the game, I will say that, and if that changes, I will come back here and I will tell you.
Okay. Well, that's kind of that gives me more understanding of it because
that quest you saw me on, that was a main story quest.
right. Okay, that's cool. That's cool. So
Did the
terrifying
internet
cat.
No.
So my second question is, and this is completely divergent. I want to go well away from crazy game mechanics and get into personal opinion now. How you feeling about the story? And you don't gotta tell me about spoilers, but like, is this good story? Like, are you like, yeah, all right, cool.
Okay, so Steve has played a lot more than me, and we'll see what he has to say. But I do know the part of the story I like the most was a side quest that Steve and I both did to completion, which is the Mage's College. So
That was a really good part of Oblivion.
when I was on my way to get physically to the Mage's College, it's really far away. You bump into a lot of other stuff. You do a lot of other stuff. I was at kind of it's called like Soledad or something like that.
Solitude.
Solitude, yeah.
Because it's in the middle of nowhere.
Every place is in the middle of nowhere.
It's not.
The
actually in
game
the
should be
middle of
called
nowhere.
Nowhere.
I wonder
So
what the actual square mileage of the map is.
We should look that up. I'm sure it's on the internet. So Solitude, which is
The
kind
internet
of like
agrees.
the main
Cats
city.
rule. And there you go, banging the microphone again.
So Solitude is basically currently the main city where the Imperial guys are hanging out.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's a city like people are always telling you to go there and do stuff, and it's all about like political intrigue and battles and all this other stuff. And I like stopped into it between a couple of points on my way to the Mage's College, and I was so bored and cared so little for what was going on and was so bored by all the characters. I was like near like not real human like pet death onion cutting tears, but video game tears.
Yeah,
Like,
no,
digital,
I think I
was near-
fast traveled out of Solitude.
I was
once
near
I got
digital
there.
tears because it was boring as get out, and I was just like, I don't want to do these quests. This like there was one quest I did in there that involved going into the mind of a dead insane king, and that was kind of okay.
Yeah,
That sounds
yeah.
good. That sounds good.
But aside from that, I was like, this place is terrible, and I don't want to do any of these quests people are asking me for. Like, I need to get out of here and get to the Mage's College. So I went to the Mage's College, and I did that whole quest line, and if that was the whole game, I probably feel like I got my money's worth. I was pretty into that.
I wish I could think.
Because these are still like, did I enjoy the quest statements? Let me refine my question because I feel like I've led you
You
astray.
clearly wanted to know about the overarching
What I
story,
want to
not
know
the
is
side quests.
if you took the game out and you were being told this story by an ancient dragon, would it be good?
No, because in my opinion, this story is the story of A Song of Ice and Fire by George R.R. Martin.
Same thing?
Yes.
Well,
The Dragonborn
I wouldn't.
is... Yes.
I wouldn't call it the same thing. But
I have a feeling we're going to get a lot of Song of Ice and Fires for a long time now.
Yeah, so...
without a doubt, yeah.
So
we're
let me
gonna
just...
see
So,
quite a few,
so let me
but-
say this. Skyrim is the North. The Nords are like the Starks and the other people that live in the North. The Imperials are the current, Southern Lords come up to
The
control
hegemony.
things. The Dragonborn are the Targaryens. Like, it's a world where there's like not a lot. Like magic is on the cusp of disappearing, and like nobody believes in dragons
I don't know,
anymore.
for the number of spells that everybody has, magic is not on the cusp of disappearing.
Well,
by the way, Obsidian didn't make this game.
not as severe as in Westeros, but
Yes.
like and they talk about like how the Mages College had fallen out, like there was a big catastrophe and it fell out.
Also,
of favor and all that
Lannisters
stuff.
are OP.
The Lannisters are OP in that
They
fucking
are-
card game that we played.
I know they're crazy OP. We need to get back and play that one of these days.
Oh, I
want
want to just throw out like 3 spoilers, but I'm just going to be quiet.
So yeah, the
I'm way behind on the books.
the
so
Dark
don't
Bro-
spoil
yeah
it.
the Dark
So many
Charlie
spoilers.
the Dark Brotherhood is the House of White and Black.
Sure.
So like it's all
Wait,
stuff.
was that a spoiler?
No,
No.
not at all. If you understand what the House of White and Black is, then it's a spoiler.
Is
but
that McDonald's?
yes,
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So
it's actually Jack in the Box, but
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just that like it's super generic. It is super generic.
okay. Okay, so all right, that's good. I mean, I know that.
I have to
Let's
I have
see-
to
let's
kind of
hear it.
I have to kind of just it is super generic, but when you think about like crazy fantasy dragon games, like
Mhm.
you're either gonna have a story that comes out of D&D or a story that's super popular over the last couple of years.
Right.
So I mean, you can
Well,
see
so
kind
here's
of.
another thing I would say. This is what you.
It's not the same enough, and you can see kind of where stuff has kind of leaked
you know,
into
I don't-
it.
So Charlie asked
Right.
the question about if you were to be told the narrative, would it be interesting? And I would say this.
I haven't
is that-
played enough to even know what the narrative
Yeah,
is.
and I agree, but I feel like I can somewhat safely say that by its very nature, if you were to tell the story, like not the anecdotes of our experiences that we all find interesting as players, but if you were to tell the
which
story
is what
of
makes
the
it a good game.
if you were to tell the story of the tale of the Dragonborn,
Hold on. I want
the
to.
Dragonborn is not a robust character you associate with. The Dragonborn is your cipher into the world.
Yeah,
And
I-
so, therefore, because of that, like, the game's story is not interesting because you're not a character. You are a cipher to get you in there and be
that
king
was
of everything.
that was one thing that I liked about Oblivion, the start of Oblivion that this game doesn't do. Remember how Oblivion, you were born into the vault,
Right.
you had your birthday, you did all that little stuff as you were a kid.
Yeah.
That's kind of what this game is missing. There's none of that. You're just suddenly you're in a carriage on a way to get your head cut off. I mean, that's the first 2 seconds of the game.
Well, in Oblivion, you're rotting in a cell.
Yeah, that is true. In Oblivion, you are rotting in a cell. Of course, I think in Morrowind, you were rotting in a cell as well. No, you're on a slave ship, if
There
I
we
remember correctly. in
So
Morrowind.
you know
And
that's
in-
kind of
and-
the spirit of.
And in the story, so, like, with the Dragonborn stuff, it's like, you are Dragonborn. Some believe that the gods, like, allow a Dragonborn to be born into a generation in need. And it's just like, yeah, you know what? That's great, dude, but I don't press the shout button. So I'll save your fucking world without ever pressing the shout button. It's
Yeah.
of, like, very little interest to me and my mission to slay dragons and find people tusks of shit because they want to start their own roadside.
Yeah, no,
track
it's
shit.
the game. And when I don't even know how to say it. It's like it's so gamey because like you're thrust into this world, and like
Yeah.
I don't even know how to explain. Like they just like they want you to do all of this stuff,
Here's
and
the
there's
spin-off.
all of this like incidental shit that's going on around the outside, which is just like I wander into a town and all of a sudden everybody wants me to do something for them. Like that's not how anything works. That would only work in a video game, and it's just like
so what I would say you always kind of have in your back pocket when you look into this genre of games, regardless of the content or anything, is that really the story's there to motivate you to play the game because the game you play is going to be the story.
Apparently, you're prejudiced against the Thum.
So
Just hold down the Z button, man. It won't hurt.
You play the you play these games, and the story you make is going to be better than any story they could ever write. Why they make a great product is that they create this atmosphere, this context,
where you can create your own story.
So you hiding out in a cabin because there's a bear outside becomes the story, and that is something that is like, oh God, I got to hang out in this cabin and craft all these herbs in my thing into a potion so that I could possibly survive a fight because I dropped my bow. And some crazy scenario like that is why you pay the money.
Dude, I drop my weapon. I drop my weapons all the time because R is drop and T is enchant. Refill enchantment.
Nice.
All the time I'm dropping my weapons.
So yeah, but Charlie and I would say that is in spite of the game design, not intended by it. Because if they intended to make a product to give me the type of fun I have with a Bethesda game, they would fail miserably. They're trying something and failing at it in an odd, weird way where I'm laughing at them, not with them, but still feeling fulfilled.
I think they know. I think they know.
Oh, no, they know because they watch their beta testers play it. But right up until the point where testers, like, they're trying to reach a point where the game isn't weird and funky like that, and they're doing it in the same way, so you keep getting the same great Bethesda situations you've been getting since Oblivion. And
I would argue much earlier than that.
Yeah,
what I'm getting at this story about the narrative, because I know that like
if you were to sit down and read the story of the Dragonborn, I bet it may not be a great novel, but it might be a great short story.
So also, you want to talk about in-game reading the fiction?
Man, I open every book.
If the font monster over here got on like how hard that game makes it to read its in-game fiction. It's using an era-appropriate font, thus making it hard to read.
They should overlay an actual font that you could read, like blur out the background and make it so you could read it.
Guess what? The codex in Mass Effect 2. In space, they're using like sans serif, like they're not using ye old font, and I can read stuff in Mass Effect. You can't read this.
So yeah, they did this goofy thing with the type in Oblivion, which I remember, and yeah. I agree.
And it's the same why they would do, like, I understand that they're not trying to break your immersion, but every time you go to the menu to fucking switch one of your favorites,
yeah.
Like why isn't the book font that font?
Yeah, how much more time is it going to take for the people of this world to discover the printing press so that books can be written in a legible way for my experience?
You have unlocked Gutenberg.
I don't know, but I don't think any of the houses I've been into has a bathroom bucket.
Oh my God!
Actually, that's not true. I think a couple do, but.
It's funny. I was just going to call for a bathroom break.
Actually, we're just about to hit an hour, so I think
bathroom break.
I think we'll take a quick break.
Have another beer, and I can tell you about Cube.
Yeah, I saw you playing that earlier. I was shocked that you were playing something other than Skyrim.
That's
Cube
what Charlie
2,
said.
Hypercube?
That's exactly.
By the way,
Charlie
Q-Tube,
said.
Hypercube, one of the best movies ever made. The Cube series, the best.
We'll
don't jump up. Don't. Actually, we should.
We'll be back.
Pop and lock. All
right, so we're gonna pop and lock the video for a little bit. We'll be back, Internet.